All right, Shalom Akim. I want to give all praise, honor, and glory to Yahweh, Ba'ashem Yahweh Shai, Ba'ashem Rakakwadash for allowing me to do another lesson. Yahweh, who the world really calls God. Yahweh Shai is his son, who the world really calls Jesus Christ, and there's no God beside them. I want to give double honors to the apostles and the elders of Great Millstone, or GMS for short, for being faithful witnesses to the Holy Spirit, the Rakakwadash, and Shalom to the elect whom the Most High have given ears to hear. And the title of this lesson is going to be The End of the American Dollar Equals the End of the World. Which it goes by way of this article, which I have a few articles I want to tap into, this being the main article that I'm going to read. So it says New World Financial Order is coming. Right? And we all know what that means. That entails war. That entails the MOTB, the mark of the beast, which we know as a RFID chip or NFC chip, which entails the end of the rulership of our enemies, of the end of Esau Edom, the end of America, the end of the EU, the end of Esau Edom ruling as a whole. All right, as the age-old documentary, which is a really good documentary called All Wars Are Bankers' Wars. Right? So now we're in a time wherein America is losing its strength. And we understand that anytime America loses its strength, like I said, you go and watch that documentary, anytime America loses its strength, what it does is it goes to war to regain that strength. All right? So as we see World War III brewing up, all right, the scriptures say it's gonna start off with a rumor. It's gonna be rumors, for a little bit, but after a while, according to the book of Revelations 9, Revelation 17, which I'm gonna read in a little bit, these things are actually gonna happen to where World War III will happen. All right, and these nations are gonna melt America. Which in turn is gonna hurt them as well. All right. So that's what the Lord is basically having come to fruition now. All right. A new financial order, which in turn is ultimately going to lead to Yahweh Shai, Yahweh Shai's return, the real new world order. So it says the US and EU have tarnished their reputation by freezing Russia's central bank reserves. Ex-President Dmitry Medvedev has said a new financial order will be getting a little excited. A new financial order will be negotiated in the world, and the West won't have the main say in it anymore. Ex-Russian President Dmitry Medvedev has claimed the hellish sanctions imposed on Russia by the US, EU, and their allies over the conflict in Ukraine have failed to cripple the country. But are instead returning to the West like a boomerang, Medvedev said. The former Russian president, who is now the deputy chairman on the Russian Security Council, wrote on Telegram, "This is hurtful for our friends in Europe and overseas. But while the West continues its fruitless efforts to restrict Russia, the world is gradually moving towards a new logic of global economic relations, towards upgrading the financial system," he said. According to Medvedev, the US and EU have tarnished their reputation by blocking the reserves of the Russian central bank. It is impossible to trust those who freeze the accounts of other states, steal other people's businesses, assets, and personal possessions, compromising the principles of sanctity of private property. After the outbreak of the conflict in Ukraine in late February, the US and EU froze nearly half of Russia's foreign currency reserves worth $300 billion. Washington created a special task force, klepto capture, which that's E in a nutshell. The thief cometh not but to steal, to kill, and to destroy. It says to oversee the implementation of sanctions against Moscow and seize the assets of individuals and entities who violate them. You know, which goes to show you that by all means, whether it be fair or not, America will cripple you. All right. And as I read that, it brought me back to this article I read a few days ago entitled IMF, which is International Monetary Fund, warns countries may cut dollar reserves in response to U.S. sanctions against Russia. Now it says, what's the title of this lesson? The title of this article kind of says a lot in itself, because it says countries, all right, meaning EU countries, may cut dollar reserves in response to U.S. sanctions. Now, we understand that through the last article I just read, it says U.S. and EU sanctions, but in this one it just says U.S. sanctions. You see? And we understand this to be the case through prophecy. I was just saying that it's funny the way this author titled this article. Now it says, did the IMF just parrot one of Russian President Vladimir Putin's favorite criticisms of Western sanctions? During an interview with Foreign Policy, the IMF's first deputy director, Gita Gopinath, warned that Western sanctions on Russia, and more specifically, the confiscation of dollar and euro dominated reserves held by the Russian central bank, could backfire by making other foreign central banks more reluctant to hold such a large amount of their own foreign reserves in dollars and euros. For decades now, the international dollar-based financial system has been underpinned by market principles. Unfortunately, when Western institutions effectively confiscate reserves belonging to an independent central bank, they cut against this notion and prompt other nations to ponder the possibility, however remote, that they could be next. Ultimately, it's likely that some countries will reconsider the wisdom of so heavily relying on the dollar. All right, so this is a forecast by the IMF, right? Which goes to show you that America is losing its grip, because what normally happens, all right, is that, war happens, your country is crippled, and America offers a stimulus. That stimulus will get you out of your debt. However, it comes with a few, it comes with some stipulations. Certain stipulations would be that you would have to, trade in the American dollar. You got to invest in the IMF, the International Monetary Fund. All right. And which would basically mean that America owns you, and you're basically constantly in debt. All right, because let's say, your currency may be half or a quarter, or, a third or whatever of the American dollar, or the worth of the American dollar, you're constantly in debt. Okay, so it's just a little small history. Like I said, you check out that documentary, which is called All Wars Are Bankers' Wars, to give you a better understanding of how all of this works. Has worked in the past, and as they say, if it ain't broke, don't fix it. So going back into this article now, it says confidence in reserve currencies is fading like the morning mist, and the prospect of abandoning the dollar and euro in this role does not seem like such an unrealistic prospect anymore, he said. The era of regional currencies is coming. Russia said that from March 31st, it will only accept payments for gas in rubles from unfriendly countries, which include the US, EU, while China and Saudi Arabia have been discussing switching to the yuan in the oil trade. Now, what's going on in the EU, which is the European Union, which consists of like Switzerland, Luxembourg, Germany, they're being hit super hard because they receive more. They receive their gas, all right, which you need gas to heat the homes. You know, you need gas to move product to and fro to keep the economy running. Basically, they receive majority of their gas as well as their agricultural needs, like what is it, the wheat and everything, right? Which wheat is containing damn near everything from Russia. Now, if they don't play ball, they don't eat. The economy shuts down. The people starve and die, and so on and so forth. You know, so it's only a matter of time before they switch teams. You know, was that, I don't know if it's an old saying, but it's basically a wise proverb. You know, when people are backed into a corner, they do things that they would have normally not otherwise have done. You know, so to speak. Now it says Russia said on that from March 31st, it will only accept payments for gas in rubles from unfriendly countries, which include the US and EU, while China and Saudi Arabia have been discussing switching to the yuan in their own trade, in their oil trade. No matter if they want it or not, they will have to negotiate a new financial order, Medvedev said. And the decisive voice will then be with those countries that have a strong and advanced economy. And we see who those countries are. It's not America. Slocky, 1 second. Right? We see who those countries are. It's not America. It's not the EU. It's Russia, China, and countries like that everybody's gonna have to soon bow down to. You know, or as so it's seeming, or as it seems rather. So it says no matter if they want it or not, they'll have to negotiate a new financial order, Medvedev said. And the decisive voice will then be with those countries that have a strong and advanced economy, healthy public finances, and a reliable monetary system, and not with those who endlessly inflate their public debt, issuing more and more pieces of paper into circulation which aren't backed by national wealth, i.e., the American dollar. Now, I want to get this precept. This is the book of Revelations, chapter 17, verse 7. And the angel said unto me, all right, reading on now. And the angel said unto me, wherefore didst thou marvel? I will tell thee the mystery of the woman and of the beast that carried her, which have the 7 heads and 10 horns. Now the woman, all right, the virgin daughter of Babylon, the whore that sitteth upon the beast, is America, as you see in this picture right here, right? When you go into like I want to say when Trump was in office, and he was basically, um, basically doing like unilateral decisions. Um, like when it came to certain sanctions or certain things that the EU did, or that whereas other EU's Slovakia, other EU countries, like they would normally have to get together, they would have to, come to a common agreement, and then a decision was made. All right, but America, being that whore that sitteth upon many beasts, just did what it wanted, and it didn't care about any consequences because America controls the EU. America has the final say so. Even though, like I said, under normal circumstances, they will all have to come to a common agreement. America would have, made certain unilateral decisions on its own. All right, and the EU, they support the bullshit of America. All right, now it says, "I will tell thee the mystery of the woman." All right, because for many years, all right, in times and ages, this prophecy was a mystery. All right, a mystery is a hidden thing. And of the beasts that carried her, which have the 7 heads and 10 horns. All right. Now, when you go into this word carry, the beast that carried her, it says to take up in order to carry or bear, to put upon oneself, to bear away, carry off, to sustain, uphold. All right. So literally, the beast is sustaining. Literally, the beast is sustaining or upholding America. All right. Meaning, without the beast, America will fall. Without the support of the beast, America will fall. All right. This is the beast that thou sawest was and is not, and shall ascend out of the bottomless pit and go into perdition. Now, this is talking about Rome. It wasn't in rulership and is not. All right. It will fall to Jake, the so-called blacks, during the time of the Dark Ages, and go into perdition for 1,000 years. And they that dwell upon the earth shall wonder, whose names were not written in the book of life from the foundation of the world, when they behold the beast that was and is not and yet is. Right? The beast that was is Rome and is not, went into perdition, fell, and yet is. It came back as who? Britain. And here is the mind which have wisdom. The 7 heads are 7 mountains on which the woman sitteth, which is why I brought this picture up, because it shows you the 7 mountains or 7 rulerships, which again, when you go into certain meetings that these EU members have, is called what? A summit. And a summit is what? The top of a mountain. Okay? So the lead, the ones representing these countries go to what? A summit. All right, to discuss certain issues. All right, so the 7 mountains are 7 on which the 7 heads are 7 mountains, all right, or 7 governments on which the woman sitteth. All right, as you see, Germania Major, the Romans, the French, the Spanish, Germania Minor, Britain, and the Greeks. And there are 7 kings, 5 are fallen, and one is, and the other is not yet come. As we just went into, one is, all right, Britain, right, which the 5 that are fallen is France, Greece, Spain, Germania Major, or or Germany and Rome. And one is Britain. And when he cometh, he must continue a short space. So America, when you go into its history, 13 colonies, all right, stem out of Great Britain. You know, Britain ruled over the 13 colonies. Then there was a Revolutionary War, all right, and then it did its own thing. It became 50 plus states. And the beast that was and is not, even he is of the eighth and is of the seventh, and goeth into perdition. Right? So that's pretty much the point there. Now let me jump down to verse was that 7, right? So, I just want to break down the history of going into what time we're in. All right, to where the beast was, as I said before, which these countries were known as, they had different names back then, but they still had given their power to Rome, right? Which today, as we just went into, it's of the seventh and of the eighth and of that nature, coordinates to what is now known as America. Okay. And, just as before, these nations are going to come against America just as they came against Rome, in which we have seen when that happened, that was nearing Rome's, which were near America's end. All right. And it also says that after a while, after a certain time, these nations, as it says in Revelation 17 and 16, and the 10 horns which thou sawest upon the beast, these shall hate the whore, and shall make her desolate and naked, and shall eat her flesh and burn her with fire. You see, so at a certain point in time, the ones who at one point carried her, upheld her, all right, gave her that prominence, gave her that glory, is going to come against her, destroy her. And it all starts off with that financial dominance. Okay? Which is why, through the spirit, World War III is also going to happen. All right? Now, I want to get one last article. Let me see. Where did I see that? Right here. Right? I want to get one last article going into how I believe, this is going to basically combine itself into World War III. Now it says, President Biden to sign executive order on ensuring responsible development of digital assets. Digital assets, including cryptocurrencies, have seen explosive growth in recent years, surpassing a $3 trillion market cap last November, and up from $14 billion just years prior. Surveys suggest that around 16% of adult Americans, approximately 40 million people, have invested in, traded, or used cryptocurrencies. Over 100 countries are exploring or piloting central bank digital currencies, CBDCs, a digital form of a country's sovereign currency. The rise in digital assets creates an opportunity to reinforce American leadership in the global financial system and at the technological frontier, but also has substantial implications for Slovakia. That was pretty much the point. America wants to hold on to its dominance as far as the financial sector goes. Because when we know about Esau Edom, all right, is that he does not like taking the back seat. Okay. Let's grab this actually. Genesis chapter 27. Verse 36. All right. When I say Esau, I'm talking about the so-called white man. And in this instance, more specifically, the American, the so-called white man that rules America. This American hegemony will not take the backseat to anybody. And he said, all right, and he said, is he not rightly named Jacob? For he hath supplanted me these 2 times. And this goes to show you that there will never be any peace in this world, because you have Esau that rules Russia. You have Esau that rules the EU. You have Esau that rules, of course, as I went into America. There will never be any peace. One will always try to backstab the other for dominance. One always believes that he can do better than the next. But they all gonna go down. All right. But just going into America, all right, which is that, I'm saying, that the top dog at this point, he's not gonna want to take the back seat. So this is Genesis 27:36. And he said, is not he rightly named Jacob? For he hath supplanted me these 2 times. He took away my birthright. And behold, now he hath taken away my blessing. And he said, hast thou not reserved a blessing for me? Which was a lie. All right. He didn't take it away. You sold it. You could read that in Genesis 25. And Isaac answered and said unto Esau, behold, I have made him thy Lord, and all his brethren have I given to him for servants, and with corn and wine have I sustained him. And what shall I do now unto my son? Unto thee, my son? And Esau said unto his father, hast thou but one blessing, my father? Bless me, even me also, O my father. And Esau lifted up his voice and wept. And Isaac his father answered and said unto him, behold, thy dwelling shall be the fatness of the earth, and of the dew of heaven from above. And by thy sword thou shalt live, and thou shalt serve thy brother. And it shall come to pass, when thou shalt have dominion, that thou shalt break his yoke from off thy neck. And Esau hated Jacob because of the blessing wherewith his father blessed him. Right? So Esau hated Jacob because he realized that he took the back seat. He was the first to lose. He took second place prize. So you could have a better understanding. And Esau said in his heart, the days of mourning for my father are at hand. Then will I slay my brother Jacob. You see? So that's how this devil is. The scriptures say what? What's that? Habakkuk chapter 2 verse 4. Behold, his soul which is lifted up is not upright in him. Okay? This devil's soul is lifted up, as we just read. Why do you have to maintain dominance over, the financial sector of this world? Because his soul is lifted up. All right? He's been in, in the rulership for so long that he can't see himself taking a back seat to nobody. All right? But as we just read, which I don't know. Let me see if I read that part. Back at Revelation 17:10, which I got to hear my Bible, it says, and there are 7 kings, 5 are fallen, and one is, and the other is not yet come. And when he cometh, he must continue a short space. You see? Short space, otherwise known as what? A small boundary. And what's the scripture say in was that Job 14? That the Most High have put a boundary upon this devil's head that he cannot pass. So if you got a boundary, or which in other words known as a lot, you could walk but so far until you're in somebody else's territory. And the Most High is not going to allow that to happen. All right? Total rulership of this world is given unto the elect. It's given to Israel. You know, the scriptures constantly speak about Esau ruling. All right, the beast, under Rome, which as we just broke down, Rome became Britain, and then through Britain, America. This place was only supposed to be ran a short season, a short space. All right, let me jump to Revelations 20:1. And I saw an angel come down from heaven, having a key of the bottomless pit, and a great chain in his hand. And he laid hold on the dragon, that old serpent, which is the devil and Satan, and bound him 1,000 years. All right, just again further going into how when the Lord basically had these devils going to slavery for 1,000 years under the what's known today as the Dark Ages, and cast him into the bottomless pit, and shut him up, and set a seal upon him, that he should deceive the nations no more till the 1,000 years should be fulfilled. All right, after that 1,000 years, he came out deceiving the nations again, whitewashing the real judges of the earth, as it says in Job 9:24. And after that, he must be loosed a little season. Okay? Still, it's only a little season, but this devil don't see it that way. All right? That's why the Lord himself is going to come, not as a man, as the scriptures say. What's that? Isaiah 47:3. It says, behold, his soul which is lifted up is not upright in him. All right? As a matter of fact, when you go into that word upright, that's actually attributed to Jacob. Like I said, when you go to Genesis 25, being upright. Let me just grab it. Genesis chapter 25. In verse 27. And the boys grew, and Esau was a cunning hunter of the field, and Jacob was a plain man dwelling in tents. That word plain meaning perfect, complete, all right, sound, wholesome, all right. In other words, he was upright. He was okay, as it says right here in the Strong's definition, it says pious, dear, coupled together, perfect, plain, undefiled, upright, right? And the earth is going to be given into our hands. The scripture saying, what's that? Ecclesiastes 10:4, that the earth is in the hand of the Lord, and he give it to it one that is profitable. This devil is not profitable. All right, it's about his way or no way, And as a king, that's not how the king is supposed to be. It's about what's most profitable for the earth. All right, and constant wars, constant debt, poverty, that's not profitable to anybody. Cutting down trees to put concrete down just to make a profit is not. It doesn't do you any good. All right, you know what I'm saying? Pushing the world to just buy oil and drill into the earth. You know what I'm saying? Therefore, you have to, extract oil to make a profit. Is not helpful to anybody. This is why you have, sinkholes and earthquakes. So this devil's not profitable. He's not upright. So it says, but his soul, behold, his soul which is lifted up is not upright in him, but the just shall live by faith. Yet also, because he transgresseth by wine, he is a proud man, neither keepeth at home, who enlargeth his desire as hell, and cannot be satisfied. And according to that, and with that spirit, let's grab this. Ecclesiastes 23:16. Two sorts of men multiply sin, and the third will bring wrath. A hot mind is as a burning fire. It will never be quenched, till it be consumed. And as we just read in Revelation 17, who is going to consume them? The EU, all right, that beast, all right, that at one point gave its power to America. All right. Now this is a small consumption. However, as we just read, America's not going to be with it. A fornicator in the body of his flesh will never cease. It's like a hot mind is as a burning fire. It will never be quenched till it be consumed. This devil will never stop, you know what I'm saying, trying to go for dominance over the world until he be consumed. All right? It will never be quenched till it be consumed. A fornicator in the body of his flesh will never cease till he have kindled a fire. We understand, according to Hebrews 12, who's that fornicator. All right? Then it says, all bread is sweet to a whoremonger. He will not leave off till he die. See? So, that's pretty much it, man. You know, hey, we just gotta keep our minds girded, because soon enough, this devil's about to create a chaotic attack to where, again, he can come out the victor. You know, he can create like Hegelian dialectic mindset of Esau, create a problem, all right, and they come up with the solution, which the solution will always be him being on top. There's no, you know how people keep talking about equality and, you know what I'm saying, we all one. No, this devil sees you at the bottom and him on the top. That's how it's always going to be seen, you know, but that's not how the Lord sees it. Okay, so that's pretty much it, man. Lord willing, you are edified. Shalom to the elect.